Welcome to the Becoming Eva podcast, where we discuss real-life issues from a woman's perspective.
Becoming Eva seeks to break the silence within the female community while fostering authenticity, transparency, and healing.
We're your hosts, Latoya Moore
and Maya Dawson.
Let's get started. Happy Saturday.
Hey.
Welcome. Well, as you can see, today we have two very special guests. Our very own Maya Dawson of Becoming Eva and her husband, Chris Dawson.
I'm in the hot seat.
You are in the hot
seat. On this side.
We also have a guest host today, Mr. Ryan Righteous of Track Stars, Ryan Moore.
No.
My husband. He'll probably try to take over the show because he is a radio personality. But welcome to Becoming
Thank
Eva.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So, just in case you guys don't know about this Dawsonville pair, I'm going to read their bio. Chris and Maya Dawson met as friends and later married in 2014. It was then that their family, affectionately known as Dawsonville, was born. As fellow Christian creatives, they are devoted to living as pure vessels empowered by the Holy Spirit to use their gifts and talents for God's glory. Woo, woo, woo.
Amen.
Together, they are called to break generational curses while impacting the arts and entertainment industry. In 2017, they co-founded Creativaire Incorporated, a creative consulting agency and production company. Since then, they've helped countless artists become bestsellers, as well as numerous businesses and organizations generate revenue while building momentum around their brands. When Chris and Maya are not creatively collaborating, they enjoy movies, date nights, and working out together. So welcome, Dawsonville. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey.
Woo, woo, woo. So you guys know we always got to kick it off with what's trending. Our girl, Portia Love, congratulations on your engagement to Donatello. We are so excited for you, and we can't wait to have you back on the show so you can fill us in on all the details.
We need that story. We need that love story, girl. We want to
good.
hear it.
That's good.
You remember when she was on our show, she said the DMs was dry.
Yes. She said it was the desert.
Yes. A lot has happened in that year or so since we've had her on, so I can't wait to hear that.
Yes, you're going to have to fill us in on all the details. And our next what's trending topic. Do you celebrate Valentine's Day? You guys know Valentine's Day is around the corner. So as singles or married, if you're in a relationship, do you celebrate Valentine's Day? And can you share with us how you all do that?
You want to start? That's a good question. I would say I celebrated Valentine's Day as a single and now that we're married. As a single, I was like, hey, it's the day of love still. I'm gonna love myself. I'm gonna get with my girls. We go out and about, We used to do like dinner and a movie, or Alvin Ailey was in town. We go see Alvin Ailey. So we had a good time. Spa-day, hotel room, all that. We would have a good time. And then now that we're married, I think we do celebrate still. It just looks different each year. I think this year we're talking about doing a DIY Valentine's Day where we're gonna cook and make things together and just really enjoy spending time with each other. But I'm all for love, y'all. Whether you married or single, love is love. Love yourself first, and love the one you with.
When I was single, I don't think I went anywhere. I probably had to work that night. So but as a single, I would have just going places by myself. I mean, there's been times where I went to the movies by myself and different things like that. So I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Enjoyed being single. And then when we got married, us I mean we've been like doing dinner and movie or going somewhere and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah.
That's
You
dope.
celebrate?
Yeah, we celebrate. We celebrate.
What do you do?
It's changed since we had kids.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's changed. If we don't have a babysitter, it's usually find our favorite meal. Yeah, go out to a movie, go out to dinner, something like that.
I remember we had a couple on a couple years ago, a couple seasons ago, and they were newlyweds actually, and they were like, "We don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Every day is Valentine's Day. I'd rather, give her flowers randomly than having a holiday to do it." So I was like, "Okay, you probably get more flowers that way anyway, boo. Like, do you?" So I get that too, where people say it can be a commercialized, holiday.
Yeah.
But that's one thing to consistently acknowledge and recognize your spouse throughout the year versus some people need those reminders. So I think Valentine's is still important. When I was a single person, I celebrated as well by myself and took myself out and got a pedicure, manicure, different things like that. So I definitely think even if you're single, you should definitely celebrate love and celebrate yourself.
Did you? You
No.
single?
No, not my thing. I'm such a homebody. Like if you give me a reason to stay home, I was gonna stay home. So Valentine's Day, I didn't have Valentine. I'm staying home. Wasn't my thing.
Yes. All right. So let's kick it off with our how it all got started. So tell us, Becoming Eva fans, how you both met.
We've known each other since like we've known each other for like 24 years.
Yeah.
24?
We did meet in 2000.
Yeah, so we
I
know
can't
each other.
believe
Yeah.
When you said 20, I was like, oh Lord.
Yeah, we were friends for a couple years and prior to us getting together and stuff, but we were like we was going to the same church, so we knew each other and just 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 was good friends honestly. And then we served in Destinations, which is a spoken word hip hop event that our church used to throw. But we was in the same age group, so we went to a conference together when she was in college and different things of that nature. And then I mean, I don't know if I'm leaving anything out.
No, that is how we met. I was literally thinking back, and I probably have a blackmail picture or two of you. When we met for the first time at a leadership training school. So we went to leadership training school together. I think you had just graduated.
No, I didn't go to school. I mean, high school.
You just graduated high school, right?
Yeah.
When we met for LTS.
Yeah.
Before you went to full. Okay.
Yeah, I went to college.
I was in college at the time, so that was, and we literally it was us. We just became friends, But you went and did your thing. I went and did my thing, and then we reconnected for summer camp. We were both camp counselors at a summer camp, and I think that's to me officially like when you kind of became my friend officially, because I was like, okay, he seems cool, like, and now then we were friends for several years before we even started dating.
Wow. That's good.
You said on one of our Becoming Eva episodes, if I remember correctly, you guys might have to correct me if I'm wrong. We said it was a slow simmer.
You want to tell them why it was a slow?
Like, you got a version and I got a version. First of all, y'all, my husband already gave me a disclaimer when we were prepared for this show. He was like, I'm gonna tell the truth, right? Not like a threat. Like, what's the truth, man? Yeah, right. Like, what's wrong with the truth? So that's why I was like, what version you gonna say? But it was a slow brew, because literally that summer camp situation was like 2022. I mean, not 2022, 2002.
Yeah.
And we didn't start dating until 2009. So it was a very slow brew. And there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
If you would like to share.
Well, I was dating somebody else for a long period of time.
Oh.
Yeah. Maya's friend.
he
I don't
was
remember how long
he
it
was
was.
dating a friend of mine
Okay.
He
Yeah.
was dating
for
her friend.
for a while.
Yeah.
Not the entire 7 years, but y'all dated for what, about 3 years?
3 to 4 years.
And then and we were friends throughout that time, so much so that he would like ask me for advice. And I think I helped him plan a
Yeah.
dinner for her because
that
she
song,
and I were
Usher, You Make
friends.
Me Wanna, came the truth.
Oh gosh.
You make me want to lead the one I'm with.
I know.
So the
Helped
new
her
relationship.
husband plan a dinner
I
for
had-
another woman.
I had pure motives because this was a friend, like
Yeah.
my girl, And I was honestly, I really thought they were gonna get married. I was like, she's gonna be the first one in our group to get married. It is what
Yeah.
it is. And then they broke up. How long did y'all date? What, 3 years?
Yeah, 3.5.
And she told me, because we were actually on a road trip. She and I were on a road trip going to spend time with her family. She was like, yeah, me and Chris broke up. I was like, oh snap, what happened? And I literally just kind of left it at that. But she actually had a dream. And I'm trying to remember when she told me this. May have been in that same conversation. She had a dream that me and Chris were gonna get married. And it literally nothing clicked. Nothing. I was like, oh, okay, blah, 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 blah. That's interesting. Just kind of left it. And so it was 3 years later after they broke up that he officially asked me out.
If memory serves, wasn't this person more like a roommate?
No, we weren't roommates.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. But we were really good friends.
Okay.
Yeah, very.
Gotcha.
Yeah, same singing group and everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. That was
Yeah.
Ooh,
It is.
how she feel now?
I
We
she's
married,
actually
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That
She invited her to her wedding.
One.
wait,
She invited her to the wedding.
Not everybody can go.
We were dating at the time.
And
but
she
I
didn't
have
give
a
him
plus
plus one.
Yeah, not everybody.
Fired.
No, you can't do that.
But yeah, no, that's a very, very interesting story. Because I mean,
Yeah.
even when we started dating, like, I think when we started dating, she hadn't started dating her husband, her now husband, but they started dating while we were dating, and they ended up getting married before us. But it was awkward. We had some interesting conversations for a moment, and you could share this, but I know that even probably you had to work through some stuff to even.
Oh yeah. Even getting to conversations and because I didn't want to be that guy that had that reputation at our church and stuff. So like people,
Guy that goes around.
yeah,
everybody in the
yeah,
Uh-huh.
not in the friends group, but just like reputation is just that person's name going like, yo, that person dated him, that person, because we had people at the church like that, but I just didn't want that. So for a couple of years, I just was like, okay, I'm not really dating nobody. I would go on dates with people, but it just wouldn't I was like, whatever. But then when somebody was like, start talking about Maya, and I was like, nah, I'm good, man. I don't want to, because I knew that they were friends. So I was like, I just didn't want to. And then I think either Sean or we had people in our church that was talking, was like, listen, y'all adults. This is something that's this is a real situation, and this isn't like that's been a couple years. You didn't just go around and that just happened. So yeah, man, I think that's what ended up happening. And we started talking. I did some stuff that she probably could talk about that she didn't like. I really wasn't. I think sometimes because rejection is a real thing for me. I feel like I'm past that a little bit more, but I think back then it was just very rough. Like if I didn't know, I was like, I'm not gonna ask nobody because I just didn't want to get hurt. I didn't want to, because honestly, me and Maya were really, really good friends, and I really value that. And I knew my next relationship that I was gonna get into, I was like, I want to be married to a friend. I didn't want to just, because the prior relationship to that wasn't, we knew each other, but we weren't friends. And I knew I wanted a friendship with my wife. So I was like, yo, I don't want to do that. So once we started talking, it was just like, wow, okay, and different things of that nature. So yeah.
Now you're right. We were really good friends before we started dating. I mean, like still, even after the whole ex-girlfriend situation, like we were, because the singing group, which the saga continues. Yes, his ex-girlfriend was in the same singing group as me, but Chris was our sound engineer for the same singing group. So we were all traveling together, going out of town, going places, doing things together. Like it was real. And this was before we even started dating, but it was like literally we were all in that same circle. And Chris and I were really good friends. So I knew when he did take the first step to ask me out, I was like not hesitant about him, but hesitant because it was like, we have a lot of mutual friends and we're good friends. So if this goes south, like there's a lot at stake, our friendship is at stake. I didn't want our friends to feel like they had to choose sides. Like it would be awkward for them. And it was just a lot, but you did have some moments beforehand when we were leading up to the asking out moment where I was like, this is dude for real. Like, what's going on? But when he finally asked, and I was very clear where I was like, because people will give you hints like, yeah, so and so is asking about you, or what you think about so and so. I was like, okay, it is what it is. But I was not.
You want to tell him about the plan you was on?
Oh gosh, he's talking
plan.
about.
She dated a couple guys.
Some roommates.
Some roommates. Yeah.
Before we started dating, I literally, if y'all know me, I didn't really date while I was single. Like while I was in college, I was like, I kissed dating goodbye, and then after that, it was like full speed ahead with ministry. And so probably like the year or two before we started dating, I was like, and God, I felt like gave me the release where it's like, you need to learn how to interact with God. Because I was either like, don't look at me, don't talk to me, or oh my God, are you my husband? Like it was one or the other. And so in that year or so before we started dating, God was like, I want you to, get used to having healthy interactions with the opposite sex. And so I started talking to a guy on New Year's Eve, probably the New Year's Eve before we started dating. And we talked for a good 3 months. I was really feeling him and I thought he was feeling me, but it was one of those things where it was like, okay, you feeling me as a friend? So I got played, long story short. And then my mother passed away. This was right in that, because we started dating the year my mother passed away. And his roommate reached out and was like, I want to take you out. And in my mind, I'm still like, oh, he want to take me out. But I think it was really one of those like bereavement take you out dinners, because it was not it didn't really turn into anything, but they just happened to be roommates. Meanwhile, this one here is like observing the whole thing. And so again, we're good friends. So he would email me like, hey, I'm thinking about asking so-and-so out. What do you think? Or, how are you doing? Blah, 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 whatever. So he's seeing this whole situation and he emails me and says, are you an exchange program? And I said,
no, I said that to your face.
Did you say this to my face?
Yeah.
Exchange program.
Because I had dated, he saw me with these dudes back to back. So he was throwing shade, y'all. He was throwing shade. And he was paying real close attention, if you notice. And he wasn't asking me out. So Maya gonna have a good time. But anyway. Anyways, when he did finally, I was adamant where I was like, I'm not. People can throw hints all day long, but until he actually comes to me and actually asks me out, I'm not taking him seriously. And so it took a minute.
It did take a minute. I mean, you was in positions at different places. When I used to run sound and stuff, and you'd be in the back, and I'm like, why is she back there? Like
giving you an opportunity.
Yeah, but
to make it official.
But yeah, it was. But at the same time, it was just in like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, so I think at the end of the day with Sean Grant, who does Track Stars with us, he was like, man, if you ask her, she gonna say yes. I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah. I said, okay. So I was like, okay, let me go ask her out. First time we asked, we probably get some other questions, but the first time was kind of whack. It was whack because I was like, so I was asking you all these deep questions. It was. So all these deep questions, and she was like, well, Chris, what does that mean? I was like, nothing, and I just walked away.
What are you trying to say? Yeah, exactly.
And I walked away.
The games. Are y'all noticing the pattern here?
But I wasn't playing games like I just wasn't sure. Yeah, no, you know, like I haven't talked to nobody in like 3 years, so
But he literally said
like
nothing
talk.
and walked away,
Yeah,
and left me hanging.
You need to go get some liquid.
So
courage.
long story short, it was a slow simmer.
Y'all know,
Like she said.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward.
Okay.
Okay. So how long did you all date before you got married, and what made you take the step from dating to marriage?
You want to take that?
No, you can start off.
We dated for
Like
about
5 years?
3. No, it was longer.
It was like 2010.
Especially when you're trying to hold it together, huh? We started dating in the fall of 2009.
Yeah.
Right after your birthday.
Yeah.
Right around your birthday, because I had to award some people off at your birthday event.
wow.
Got all that to say. It was right around his birthday.
I remember
We
that.
started
I
dating.
know that situation.
And we kept it, but it was under, again, because it was a lot online. We were good friends. We had mutual friends. Nobody really knew that we were dating. We became official on Valentine's Day the following year.
Mm.
And then we dated for another 2-3 years, honestly. So about 3.5 years before you proposed.
Yeah.
But you'll have to answer the question about when you knew. I'll answer. I knew it was serious, honestly, when he actually asked me out for the first time, because I remember telling a good friend of mine who's actually our maid of honor, friend to the show, Sharita Hope Demps. I remember telling her, I said, Chris asked me out, and I said, and just like God, he's gonna end up being my husband. I said, God got a sense of humor. This man gonna end up being my husband, because you looking for the person, who comes in on a white knight in shining armor on a white horse, the guy you lock eyes with from across the room, and here it is, Crystal. I didn't know him for years, and we just been hanging out like that's your husband. So I remember telling her when he asked me out that I was gonna end up marrying him. But for you, when did you know officially?
I think I knew. It just took a long time to financially get a ring and all the stuff, and then at the same time losing a job, getting laid off for a couple of times, and trying that transition time, trying to find something different in a different career field, and then after that, it took so long that Maya was like, I can't do this no more, Chris. I'm throwing the producers, and then she broke up with me, and I was just like, yo, forget that. It's a wrap, yo. I ain't never seen that girl again. Forget her. And I was like upset because I was honest. I think the thing I was mad about because I was honest. Like I was telling her, because when I lost my job, I told her straight up. I was like, well, Maya, to be honest with you, we can't do what we used to do because I really lost the job and I'm trying to do X, Y, Z. And she's like, yeah, sure. And then it just got frustrating for her. And she's just like, I can't do this no more. And then I think that's the good part about having good friends, because I was supposed to, what this. Yeah. I was gonna go to somebody's house for something, and then all of a sudden it turned into an intervention. And I'm sitting there like,
this is an intervention.
This is an intervention for you, and I was like, what?
Tell us about the intervention, please.
Tell behind the. I don't know nothing behind the scenes. What was the behind the scenes talk about that?
So we knew our brother was hurting.
Yeah.
And we were, let's devise a plan. Everybody pull out their bag of tricks or their expertise. At the time, I was a recruiter. So I was on resume. And then Rick Sincere was on interview. So we basically were just like, let's help him overcome the stuck place that he feels like he's in. And let's listen to him talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. So he talked about, I want to get a job doing this and I want to do that. And we were all just like, okay, well, let's do that right now. So we came over to the house and we just did everything in one sitting, helped apply the job, did the resume over, and, just continued to speak words of encouragement. I remember we were doing Bible study, scripture, prayer, everything. It's just like, because he was at a place where he was like, I want this, but if she don't want this, how can I go after this? Like, what can I go after? How can I go after something that somebody doesn't want, And we just there to reassure him that, if she don't want you, we got you. We got you back, we'll be wingman for a while if we need to be.
So then after that, we got back together, and after that I got another job and became like management at that job, and then boom, then we got married.
God did his thing. Two things stood out to me during that season. First of all, and I remember when we took our break, Ryan reached out and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You've really like become like a part of our circle, like a friend." And I was like, "Oh, Ryan," because I didn't know you before Chris and I started dating. So I was like, "Oh," so that really stuck out to me. But then also, we were only apart for maybe like 2 weeks. Yeah, it was a couple weeks. Yeah. But let me tell y'all, within those, because it was bad, y'all. It was bad. when we took a break. Not only Kristen had a job, but I think your phone had gotten cut off. It was just a lot. And so literally in a matter of weeks, by the time he reached back out and was like, "Hey, let's talk about it," he had a job, he had a new phone number, like literally a lot of things shifted in that period of time. I don't recommend doing what I did. I prayed about it and I was like, God, I was literally ready to like walk away from the relationship. I was not trying to manipulate. I was not like, well, if this happens, then he'll, propose or he'll whatever, get it together. I literally was like, God, I just need to remove myself from this situation. And I'm okay with losing the relationship if that's what it turns out to be. But I had walked through it. And when we had that conversation, I was in tears. Like I was really like heartbroken over it, but I didn't know what else to do at that point. I felt like I had done all that I could do to help during that time. And I was like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And I don't know, God. So yeah.
So before we move on to I'm gonna let Ryan do the next segment on how's it going. I have one more question to ask you guys. So can you tell us a little bit about what steps you all took to prepare for marriage after you all got engaged? Like what were some steps that you guys did before and I guess after the engagement?
We went through premarital. And I think because Maya was, did we miss the actual class?
Honestly, I
at
think
the church?
I don't, maybe. I know we had an actual class at our church, but we did private marital counseling a couple of reasons, because I was in leadership at my church, and so it was like, okay, well, we didn't necessarily want to expose. I think that was kind of added to our situation too, just because I was in an extremely visible role at my church, and so in a lot of cases, even when we got engaged, some people like, I didn't even know y'all was dating, because I just didn't know how to like navigate being in a relationship with somebody, but you're like in front of people at the same time without being a stumbling block. If that sounds super spiritual, I know, but at the same time, yeah, it was. I think that added to it. But we ended up doing private premarital counseling. Yeah, we did that for what, 6 months?
Yeah, it was 6 months.
Yeah, and then we had a lot of couples too that really came alongside us and just walked us through, even leading up to the engagement. We had one couple in particular, they were like really in our corner, just trying to help us work through stuff. Even while we were dating, when we had challenges, they were there, a really great source of support. So we had accountability and we did premarital. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that we leading up to it? Or
no, it was this premarital, and then once we got closer and closer to the date, we had to go one-on-one with our pastor and first lady at the time, and then after that, then that's when our marriage date was there. Yeah. So
one-on-one with the pastor.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I mean, they still are, and they're in a completely different season of their lives right now. But I still consider them my spiritual parents, just because, again, I was in a very prominent role at our previous church and supported them, both of them, and they supported me. Quite honestly, they were there when I lost both of my parents, because I lost my mom again right before we started dating, and then we both lost our fathers while we were dating, and so they were really, they really stepped in a lot of ways. And so after we ended premarital, we did go out with them because they officiated our wedding. Of course, they knew we were dating and everything, but it was like kind of like the bow, if you will, on top of everything. So yeah.
Wow, that's great. So, how did things change when you first got married?
You want to start? that whole what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine, like that really became real, like real. You know, like we joined and merged budgets and funds and all of that, and really had to work through a lot of things in our first year of marriage. And I remember you telling me when we were dating, and I still had on them rose-colored glasses, I was in love. He's like, baby, I got some debt. And I said, all right, baby, I got some debt too. We're gonna work it out.
Praise
But
God.
when I tell you, when we got married, that debt became real.
Oh,
That became my debt.
Yeah.
And we had to figure it out.
Yeah.
We had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So like really that was yours is mine and mine is yours. Like that became real. And life, honestly, life hit. Our first year of marriage, year and a half of marriage was very, very we had a lot of transition.
Yeah.
A lot of transition during that time.
Yep.
I ended my role in full-time ministry. I've been serving in full-time ministry 10 years. And I ended my role about 6 months after we got married, maybe 9 months after we got married.
Yep.
And so we were figuring out income and, you know, how we were going to navigate that. And then shortly thereafter, another 9 months later, I was diagnosed with cancer. And so we literally went through a lot in a short amount of time.
I think that's why I always tell people, like, marriages, you can't plan for marriage.
Yeah.
Like you can try to, but you really can't. You can read all the books you can, and I'm sure it's probably the same with children. It's like you can read the books and you can do all that, but stuff may change. And like there's fires, and I think the reality of it is once you get it will test you, like it will test you going through those things. And I think if you're really about the marriage and really about loving the person that you did those vows to, then you know you're gonna stick around and you're gonna do what the vows were. I know, and I think sometimes, man, it just was like, and I tell people, I'm like, man, marriage is good when you find the right person, because if you don't have the right person, or you're about to get married and you don't know you have the right person, stuff can go left. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like the status symbol and all that other stuff, God could give you Job moments in your marriage and stuff be going on. I'm talking about like death on a person, but like a sickness or, financial troubles or, house stuff or car problems, stuff that you're like, oh man, I didn't know this was going to happen. And then it really tests your relationship, because it's like, man, we went to, when she first got started doing chemo and stuff, and we would go up there to the hospital, and the nurse was like, yeah, you a good man. I was like, well, I'm a good man. She was like, yeah, we just had somebody here who they were married, and the husband was like, I didn't sign up for this, and she got divorced while she was going through chemo, like stuff like that. Like, so I'm like, man, it's tough, you know what I mean? And I think that the beautiful thing of it though is when you go through those things and come out of them, it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's an amazing thing. So, but I would say that to anybody that's about to get married, like you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So just prepare. Like just try your best to prepare and have your faith in the Lord. Like God, like we both in there with you. You know what I mean? So wherever you take us, we're gonna ride with you, but you can't plan for stuff. Stuff just gonna happen. You know what I mean? I think people think they think I can plan for this and all this, and then like things could change in a matter of a year or two. Like she said, like in a matter of a year and a half, we at a doctor's office, or we at doing chemo, and you know what I mean? And she thank God her hair came back. She lost all her hair, you know what I mean? And she had to go through some traumatic stuff that I was her caregiver, and I'm never caregiver for nobody. And I was just like, wow, you know what I mean? But I was her husband, and I'm like, we're gonna do what we have to do, you know what I mean? So yeah. So
thank God for him. And I always tell people that like he grew 6 inches in my eyes during that space and time, because he just was such a rock. He was unwavering during that season. And I mean, I was a wreck. You knew that from the day I was diagnosed. I was like, what is happening? And literally after having lost both of my parents, all I could think of was, okay, well, I just must be next. I guess I'm just getting snuffed out. My lineage is getting snuffed out one by one. And he was a rock. He was like, no, this is not how this story is going to end. And he was just there every step of the way, to the point where I was like, are you okay? Do you have support? Because he just was unshakable during that time, like unwavering. And I remember during rewinding back to our breakup, and I was talking to the couple that one of the couples that I mentioned that kind of helped us hold us accountable and helped us through that season of, you know, preparing to be engaged. And I remember talking with that couple, and we were talking about Chris. They knew that I had broke things off, and I heard the husband saying, Chris is a diamond. And I said, I know Chris is a diamond, but like he is straight up a diamond in the rough right now. Like we're in the rough of it, you know. But I knew you were a diamond then. I did not realize how much so until we went through that season with my health, because it's only diamonds that shine under pressure like that. And that's exactly what he did. Like he rose to the occasion where most men would like run for the hills or shut down emotionally or whatever. Like, I mean, he just led the way, and he held it down financially. He held it down spiritually. He held it down. And I'm just so grateful, because you don't really see what a person is made of outside of situations like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just so grateful that I chose based on you know, someone's relationship with Christ and having Christ-like character, instead of, okay, how much money they make, what kind of car they drive. All of that's gonna come, will come, may go, come back, whatever. But I'm so glad that I chose based on the eternal instead of the temporal, because that is what I needed. And I didn't even realize it at that time, how much I would need it so soon.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's good. What's one thing that the two of you enjoy most about marriage?
I would say just like being married to your friend, like being married, having a friendship at the borderline. I mean, our relationship with Jesus is there, but I think the extra foundation is our friendship, and really coming to Maya and really having those conversations, tough ones, good ones, just anything we could have a conversation about. And I think that's the fun part. And I think the thing is, it's just like Maya is a fun person, is a funny person, and we joke and laugh, and we just have fun in our marriage. It's not like extreme serious. It's like, I'm silly. She go back and forth, say stuff. We just laugh at each other. So that's pretty much what we have fun and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the friendship piece as well. Just the silly things that we have in common, as far as like, it could be a show we grew up on, or a song that comes on, where it's like, oh, I like listening to that song too, or whatever, or the fact that we debate about stuff. Like at the end of the day, I love music, but he's a DJ. So like we have deep conversation about songs, not just, oh, I like this song. It's like, no, what'd you think about that flow? Or, so-and-so wrote that song. No, I didn't know so-and-so wrote that song. They produced it too. Like we have great conversation, dialogue. And then I love the fact too, that our purpose for our union is evident. Like when we come together to create, when we come together, when we write together, it's so beautiful to me, because I feel like I'm able to clearly see how his strengths complement my weaknesses, and my weaknesses complement his strengths, and back and forth.
Yeah.
Even with Creativaire, like we just have different strengths and weaknesses. So I love seeing how they complement one another, and how God uses them not only to help fulfill our purpose, but to help other people, those that are around us. So
Yeah, shout out to Creative Air. In case you guys missed it, make sure you check out their brand, Creative Air. Yes.
So another question comes to mind. What's one piece of advice that you would give to singles that are desiring to get married, and then also singles that are dating to get married?
What you go?
I feel like we touched on it some, but I just want to reiterate, like, you want to marry someone that knows the Lord, number one,
Amen.
that
Amen.
can get a
Amen.
prayer through, and not because they're trying to impress you, not because they're trying to, you know, look good in front of people around them or take you out on a date or get you, but like literally they have a relationship with God with or without you, and it's solid, you know, it's personal. And then the fact that they have the character of Christ. When I say the character of Christ, they have integrity. They say what they mean what they say, they do what they say they're gonna do, you know, they're humble, you know, they are they're humble. They're
Make
willing
mistakes.
to, yeah, you know, they may apologize if they make mistakes or whatever, you know, but don't mistake humility or meekness for weakness. You know, I think oftentimes we're like, you know, we as women kind of tend to gravitate towards the bad boys or the alpha males, and all of that's great. But if you don't have Christ at the core, if you don't have Christ at the center of who you are, then it's not worth committing to, because life is going to throw you all kinds of curveballs, and you just want to make sure that you are in it with somebody that, you know, that knows the Lord and that can withstand and can cover you and help, you know, keep you during those times. So
I would say for men out there, I think the thing is this, like, for the quote unquote good guys out there, like, I saw somebody said this recently. They was like, well, just the good guys just don't want the good girls. They don't want the women with some substance. They want the opposite, and then vice versa, like you just said. And I think my advice would be like, of course, men are attract visual guys. Guys are visual, so of course they want somebody attractive. But you're gonna have to look past that, because things change once life happens with somebody. You know what I mean? People may, your wife may gain weight, she may get pregnant, all that other stuff. So she may not look the same as you first met her. So you have to be past the superficial. So I would say that to any guys searching for a wife. Look past the superficial. Is she a helpmate? Does she have is she willing to submit to you? I know that's a crazy word to say right now in this culture, but at the same time, if a woman is willing to submit to you, that means she's looking for you to lead her, and she's looking for your relationship with God, where she going back into your relationship with God. Not saying that your relationship with God would be perfect, but at the same time, it's you're striving to be more like Jesus. You're waiting for him to continue to sanctify you in your walk, so that when you talk to him and he speaks back to you, or you read your word and give you confirmation, you can lead her. But then also, I would just say, just stop looking for the superficial stuff. Stop looking for what the culture says what a woman is. You know what I mean? You should go into the Word of God and say, like, okay, Proverbs 31, a woman of God. Stories in the Bible, different women of the Bible that had character. That's what we want. I think that's the thing we said today about, for men and women, character. That's what you want, a woman of character, a woman of virtue, a woman that could pray you through. You know what I mean? A woman when one thing I love about our home is Maya sets the atmosphere of peace. Like, she sets our home up to have peace. She doesn't nag me. She doesn't, we get in discussions or get in arguments here and there, but overall it's a peaceful house. You know what I mean? I come home to peace, or we talk about our day, we conversate, we do those things, and I just think for men out there, just shift. And I think it's hard because you want what the quote unquote the culture said and add a little Jesus on it. You know what I mean? You want the Instagram model, but she can be saved. I'm not saying that can't happen, but at the same time, there's wonderful women in your church that you're overlooking because you're looking from the culture eyes instead of the eyes of Christ.
That's good. So before we do our little game, do you guys have any books or recommendations that you would like to share as it relates to dating, marriage, being single? Any books?
I would definitely say 5 love languages. And then there's also the languages of apology. and you might want to look at that one too. That becomes especially important once you're married. Love languages is
I haven't read that one.
Dating. But the languages of apology, that's real. Because people, you discover that people require different things when it comes to apology. Like, Some just want you to admit you're wrong. Some want actual restitution, like they want you to like actually make it right, and not just be like, I'm sorry and move on, But the language of apology is huge because, and I thank God. Well, I think honestly, Chris is quicker to apologize than I am. The Holy Spirit is working on me. I feel like hopefully I've gotten better over the years, but Chris has always been quick to apologize. But we try to exercise that consistently in our household. So I would definitely say that both of those books are by Gary Chapman. His and Her Money is a great podcast that actually I just started listening to. We're on a debt-free journey now, and so that has been a blessing. Trying to think, is there anything you would recommend?
I'll say this. There's some books out there. I would say for a man, Purpose Driven Life was one of the good books. And the reason I say that is because you can kind of, once you figure out what God's called you to do in this life and what your kind of ultimate purpose is to serve Him, but once you figure out your calling, that could decipher a lot of women. You can be like, okay, she doesn't do what God is calling me to do. And then also, I would say, Wild at Heart. It was a good book. It's one of those books where it like challenge men to step up and stuff like that. But I think the most important thing for me, I would say, get godly counsel, godly friends, men that will keep you accountable, men that will be like, call you on your stuff. I have friends that still have friends that call me on my stuff when I was in that pit at the time. You know what I mean? So I think that's even more important than books because you could read stuff, but when you're done now, you don't know what's going on. You're in a relationship, stuff may be failing. You need God quality men in your life to pour into you and really talk to you about different things and really just like, just share your heart with, you know what I mean? But I think that's what, to me, in this time, you need godly men, not men that is gonna let you slide if you doing foul stuff, but men that gonna be like, nah, bro, that's not right. You need to check with the Lord about that, or you need to try this or do this. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what, like, as the men I could think about in my life that I can call right now, they would ask me those tough questions, and I think that's what men need is like those tough questions. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I would also say get into a great small group, a Bible-based small group for history, your local church. If there's a Bible study or something you're going through, but having like-minded couples around you, especially in this day and age, it's so important because them streets is wild. They crazy. They telling you do this or do that or try this or try that. Or this is okay to bring into the bedroom or that's okay to bring into your marriage. And you just want to make sure you have like-minded people around you, like-minded couples, Christ-centered couples around you that you can support one another and hold one another accountable.
Yep.
Yes.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. So we're going to play a game. It's called Who's Who. Ryan and I will read some questions. We're going to alternate reading questions, and you guys are going to point to the person who it applies to. All right. So the first question, who said, I love you first?
I said I love you.
So
I
those
think
of
it
you
was you.
listening,
You
to
saying
the
otherwise? You
podcast,
said it was me
I think we both said it.
at the same time.
Not at the same time,
Who
but
said it first?
those of you guys listening,
Put my money
we
on
have
Jay.
an argument. On the
I'll submit and
page.
said I did.
Yeah.
I just can't remember. No, I'm not. I just can't remember who said it first because I remember asking you when we officially made our couple as a relationship that our feelings and stuff like that. But I may have been hopelessly romantic. So
Oh, so it was Chris. How
I'm
sweet.
sure it was you. Put money on you. Okay, so next question. Who's most likely to fall asleep during the movie, watching the movie first?
I am.
That's
Put my
Chris.
money on that too.
Yeah.
Put my money on that too.
Who's the most adventurous one?
That's her.
Oh, that was quick. Everybody
Yeah.
pointing Maya.
Yeah.
Who's the best driver?
I would say me.
I'm gonna say him too. Actually,
Yeah.
Chris is the best driver.
Yeah.
So
You want to tell him why?
No, I was gonna say you've gotten into more accidents.
Uh-oh.
But I do have a heavy foot. I just
I'll ask some of
Yeah, I got pulled over. I was jamming. I had the playlist going. I was getting it. That car literally came from across the median. and it was like, "Roar." I was like, oh.
Oh,
Get my identification ready. But no, Chris is a better driver, but you have gotten into more accidents.
Well, I think
Total 2 of our cars. I want you to know that, right?
no,
Yeah.
no.
Or
I
was
think
it the same car twice? Yeah.
it was, but
Yeah.
I think at that same time the car was so old that, and not like
Yeah.
that, but the car was old.
The car was paid for, y'all.
Yeah, it was. But
That
what I'm
ain't
saying
nothing.
is the car was an older car, so if you like just messed it up a little bit, it wasn't like really damaged. It really wasn't, and it wasn't my fault. I would say the second time we was coming from a studio, and this car literally, this big pickup truck, literally reversed and jumped the curb, jumped the hood of the car.
That little car.
Yeah, so
I think we know the answer to this next one. Who apologizes first?
I do.
Chris.
Mhm.
Okay.
Who's the saver?
All right.
Chris is the saver.
I'm almost over.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Who does most of the cooking?
That's
It's Maya, for those of you
Mhm.
listening.
Maya Lansky.
Who is the spender?
Maya Lansky.
Yeah.
Woo, 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 woo. No shame in her game.
Mhm. All right, y'all. Are we out of hot seat? Y'all got some more questions?
No, that
Oh,
was
okay.
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
you
was good.
for
That was good.
playing
Thanks for
along
playing. That was
with
great.
us. Don't forget to grab your merch from the website. Get your water bottles, your mugs, jackets, totes, all kinds of cute things on the website at Becoming Eva Today. Join us next time as we continue our love series. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Becoming Eva Today. See you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.